You are officially an incinerator. Welcome to Incense and Common Sense, the live streams that we do here on the Alert Zone TV. I'm your host, the Wizard Uncle James. I would love for you guys and girls to become active citizens. Y'all already know how to do that. Um, Shout out to everybody because this is a worldwide movement. Definitely, throughout the live stream, let me know where you're tapping in from. We got a good topic here. This is definitely going to be a worldwide topic because what I'm going to talk about in this live stream has had worldwide consequences, if we can say. So I'll give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. By the way, I apologize for starting late. Had a couple things going on, and I was trying to hurry up and get settled up, and I'm here now. So we're running late. Shout out to Sci-Fair Football, Sci-Fair in Houston, Texas, and give everybody a couple minutes to get in like usual. As you coming in, make sure you hit the like button. Let's get those likes up. Give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. We'll start at the 5-minute mark like usual. So, definitely here in the States, but if you're an international viewer, if you're watching from around the world, let me know what country you're watching from. If you're watching from a different country, because I would definitely love to shout y'all out. Like I said, because this right here, this topic resonates with everybody, and this topic is part of the reason why you have to be legally armed. So it does have a Second Amendment background to it. For those of you who might say, what does this have to do with the Second Amendment? It has a lot. Because it's things like this is why you need to be armed and why you need to be on alert. And you besides having your physical firearm, you need to have this one equipped up here. So give everybody a couple minutes to get in here. We'll start at the 5-minute mark. Once again, like usual, we do our normal shout outs to the Eyes and Ears Tactical for the incinerator, definitely. Shout out to everybody that tunes into the Alert Zone TV. We appreciate y'all. My brother, Well Dressed Tactical, Gun Girls Atlanta. What's going on, Dominique? How you doing? Appreciate you. I'm doing good. Just getting ready to put in some work. I did make some notes for this particular topic. I'm seeing 20 people. I should have 20 likes. All right, what's going on? How you doing? How you doing? Capello? How you doing? Hello, hello. Yo, 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 yo. Yo, 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 yo. Like Arsenio Hall. My goofy ass. Yeah, we're going to definitely have a discussion. Disclaimer. This is not going to go where everybody thinks it's going to go, in the sense of you might be surprised at some of the things you hear. Like I said, just a worldwide movement, so you definitely gonna see some things. Yeah. So, you know what? I gotta step away for just a minute. Y'all bear with me. Let me step away just a minute. Yep. As you come in, like I said, make sure you give the video a like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I'm sitting here. I got the MEP Shield 2.0, Chamberlain 45 ACP next to me. You guys and girls know I can't show that here on the live stream, or YouTube would ding me for it. And just shout out to everybody, not only the content creators, but shout out to the people that consume the content. Without you guys and girls tuning into places like this, we wouldn't be here. So with that being said, let's go ahead on and get right into it. So I was asked the question. Yeah, I'm good. I asked the question, does music influence violence? And I asked that question because around the world, we as the law-abiding citizens, we all, as humans, all right, we got Gun Freak Nation in the building. We got William Fratelli cooking and Hybrid Channel. Shout out to you. I asked the question about does music influence violence, and it's something that we can all relate to around the world because it has more of an influence than we think it does. And you'd be surprised that basically just about all genres has some form of a violent influence. We're going to go down the list, and I'm going to tell you guys what was the inspiration for this live stream, for this topic. And because I know a lot of people still, especially here in America, are very weary of a particular fact. All right, we got pause and play. We got the 504 in the building. So I got my good book here. And I just wanted to talk about how music has a role in violence. Whether you agree in the violence or not, it has a role in it. From wars, the Star Spangled Banner, the original verse, the third verse, the original song, the third stanza, that talked about dropping bombs on the slaves and the Brits. For those of you who don't know, in New Orleans, the way they raised us, well, the way we went to school and we was taught,
back door.
If you're gonna play the Star Spangled Banner, play all three stanzas or don't play none. Don't cut out the third stanza. It's a song that you should stand by your lyrics. Francis Scott Key, for you guys and girls that don't know, wrote the Star Spangled Banner, and well, you guys and girls can go research Francis Scott Key for yourself. But that song was a rallying cry, not only to attack British soldiers, but to attack slaves. And you guys and girls have to understand something. When I'm saying does music influence violence, I'm not specifically saying every song says exactly you should target these people, but music can help a person that's already in the mindset get over the hump to go out and commit violence. And from a mosh pit, for those of you guys and girls don't know, mosh pit music, especially in the Pacific Northwest. I'm 45, so I'm old enough to remember when MTV was actually MTV, and it was actually showing music videos, and they would show everything about music 24/7. Long before MTV and BET and VH1 became what they are, they garbage, they sewage just now. Back in the day, we used to watch videos all day and all night. MTV was about nothing but music, point blank. But you had MTV News with what's his name? Is it Kurt? Excuse me. I forget his name. Forgive me. But everybody know who I'm talking about if you're in my age group. They would talk about this mosh pit music. For those of you who don't know, mosh pit music is a form of music where the guys would go to these concerts and get in like this mud pit almost. And they would shave their heads, and they would dance, and they would elbow each other and almost wrestle each other. Now, that seems as a form of celebration But what MTV talked about, Kurt Lauder, thank you, appreciate your pause and play. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It would lead to people leaving these music, listening to this music, and they would go out and commit crimes in the street. A lot of them were racially motivated, but they were crimes nevertheless. It wasn't specifically only racially motivated, but people would listen to this mosh pit music and go out and look for fights. Heavy metal, death metal. There's a genre. All right, salute to you, Destro. We appreciate you for tuning in. Death metal. For a lot of you who've never heard of the genre called death metal has influenced a lot of acts that you may not hear on mainstream news. See, we guys and girls have to understand something. I'm good. Because entertainer is not mainstream doesn't mean people don't listen to their music. You may have never heard them. But I'm going to go across a lot of genres of music and I'm going to point out some things you may or may not know. And the last one we're going to get to is going to be, nevertheless, this death metal, this mosh pit music, encouraged a lot of violence. A lot of people would leave these concerts and they would go out. It would be all kinds of fights, all kinds of stabbings, things like that. And Kurt Lauder, like I said, shout out to you, Pause and Play, would talk about that when they would have those breaking news on MTV and things like that. That's how we heard about that. We would see videos of guys and girls in mosh pits, fighting each other and elbowing each other and things like that. And once it stimulates you, yeah, I'm gonna get to that. Don't get ahead of me, because believe it or not, drill rappers is not even the reason for me doing this video. It's a part of it, but just bear with me, just listen. We're gonna get to that, because I didn't want to start with the obvious. I wanted to lead up to that, because once I get to the drill rap, I'm gonna go to what was the inspiration for this. But you had death metal, a lot of that death metal, that mosh pit music, and it influenced a lot of violence that went on. Like I said, mainly in the Pacific Northwest, but we had some of it here and there in New Orleans. You would see guys that would dress up like that in that heavy metal clothing, and they would go to these concerts, and you would hear about these little fist fights in the university area around Tulane and stuff like that, especially on the weekends, or like up on Magazine Street. Once you pass Napoleon heading towards Henry Clay, there was guys that would listen to that kind of music, and they would come out looking for the rave music. Not only encouraged drug use, but it encouraged violence. There's a particular genre of music it encourages sexual assault of women. I forget the specific name, but I had ran across an article about this. I'm gonna have to look for that article again. But it encourages that. That's violence. That's a crime. I know it's supposed to be meant for entertainment, but it has an influence. Like I said, your death metal, all your mosh pit music and stuff like that, there's a lot of crimes that have happened because of that. And a lot of time people don't link it. There's a song called I Used to Love Her, But I Had to Kill Her. I heard about that watching Forensic Files, where a guy wound up killing his wife. Think Guns N' Roses made that song, if I'm not mistaken. He was in a little financial trouble, and he was listening to that song one day, and he went through with it. On up, like I said, the national anthem, from what it was meant to be, it has encouraged a lot of violence. There's a lot of people that play that song, and then they go out and they commit violence. Whether you like it or not, some of these hate groups. That's their marching song. We can talk about Whistling Dixie. We can talk about all this stuff. There's a particular genre of music a lot of you guys and girls may have never heard of. It's a form of country music. There's segregational music. Songs like Coon Shootin' Boogie. I'm gonna be very graphic. We's Nonviolent Niggers. Songs like that have encouraged and promoted the use of violence, and there have been violence that has happened because of songs like that. A lot of y'all may have never heard this kind of music. The old Johnny Cash, the old, is it David Allan Poe? I think it's David Allan Coe. Things like that. You can find some of that stuff here on YouTube. If you just put in one, it recommends all and things like that. But there's forms of country music. I can tell you probably the most recent country music song, whether you guys like this or not, and I know it's going to probably start a firestorm. Try that in a small town. That song was meant to encourage violence. Whether people like it or not, I know what it was meant to encourage. I know some people don't like that it's been called a song that's a racial thing, but it encourages violence. Because look at the time it was made. It was in response to the whole Jacob Blake, Kyle Rittenhouse, all that stuff. It was in response to that. Where the video was shot, there's a infamous story about a guy being lynched there. It was meant to give all the dog whistles that it gave. That's just 100% it, whether you like it or you don't like it. But it encouraged things that we may have not heard of, like the Ahmaud Arbery, stuff like that. It encourages this stuff. It influences it, whether you believe it or you not. And for those of you who don't know, the most deadliest mass shooting in modern American history happened in Las Vegas at a country music concert. I know a lot of people, I responded with that in a comment section to something I saw. And it had people get angry. People call me all kinds of names for pointing that out. But this was at a country music concert. Whether the guy was a country music connoisseur or not was not my point. My point is that this happened at a country music concert. If you listen to some of this country music, because there's a lot of country music you never hear on the radio, you don't hear on the mainstream. That doesn't mean people are not making music. There's some of this stuff you may not hear that's localized that encourages certain things. And sometimes when you have it on your mind, all you need is the right song, and it will make you go out and it will make you go do this. Perfect example. Back in the 80s and 90s, we would hear this term, especially back in New Orleans, but I'm pretty sure it wasn't just only New Orleans. Baby making music. Luther Vandross in the black community. Hell, Eddie Murphy was talking to Barbara Walters when he bought a new house. I remember that interview. And he said Luther was the reason he had a couple of children. Baby making music. People would listen to music, and the next thing you know, they have an adult activity. That music got them over the hump. Music has more of an influence on us than we know. The problem is we've been taught as humans that there's only one form of music that promotes violence, and it's not true. It's just the one that you see on TV all the time. And just follow me. Don't get ahead of me. I'm going to get there. But Stephen Paddock. People try to argue me what his motive is. That wasn't my point. My point was that he did this at a country music concert. They tell you guys that this stuff only happens at rap concerts. And yet this guy went and he pulled this at a country music concert. Because if you go and listen to some of this country music that you don't hear on TV, especially down south, give me a little bit and I'll talk about that Twitch drama. I'm not sure, but we'll discuss it. Just give me a few minutes. Like blues music. There's a lot of blues music you don't hear on the radio, but you go down south and you hear it. The old stuff, the slow stuff, and the up-tempo blues music that they have. So because you don't hear something don't mean it don't exist. There's a lot of country music low-key that encourages certain forms of violence. It's a whole lot of country music that occurs riding around with your shotgun in the back of your damn Chevy pickup or your Ford pickup or what have you. Don't you think because you haven't heard it, it's not there? We as humans can never consume all the music that's being put out there. Yeah, I already got to the rock music. The death metal, the rock music, all that stuff. Now, I gotta go ahead on and go to these narco corridos. That's like a Spanish version of gangster music. For those of you who don't know, there's songs. Hell, there's one band that almost had their visa pulled for singing a song in Georgia about one of America's most wanted drug lords from Mexico. They decided to put his face up on like the Jumbotron and sing a song dedicated to him. And they got in trouble for that. So they had to stop singing that song. But yeah, pause and play. Narco Corridos is a version. You have to understand Spanish to understand it. They talk about these drug dealers. Hell, there's all kinds of songs about El Chapo. To my understanding, correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. There's this one guy, Peso Bloomer. I know he blew up a couple years ago. He sung about one cartel, and then I think he made a song about another one, and then they green-lighted him and told him he couldn't come to Mexico because he made a song about two different cartels. But there's all kinds of that Spanish music because you don't understand it. They're talking about the very same things they're talking about in rap music. Using drugs. These drug dealers, these drug kingpins, they have them on a pedestal. They sing about the Sinaloa, Jalisco, Guadalajara, and all these other cartels I never heard of. Yes, they all have music that there's music in Spanish, and some of it is real popular, that glorifies that lifestyle. It glorifies shooting. It glorifies death. That's just a fact. I'm not as fluent as I should be, but I understand a lot of it. Sometimes you might be in a store or you might hear some of the beats because you don't speak the language, and the beat might be catchy and you might be bobbing to your head to a song where they're literally talking about the drug world. These shootouts, a lot of times these guys listen to some of this music and the next thing you know, they out there, they down there slinging that iron. They down there slinging that iron. So this is why I decided to do this and start from the unobvious, because everybody's going to point to rap music, and especially rap music in America. Everybody's going to point to that. You have songs like, what's going on? Carl, I can't call it. Just in here putting in this work. You have songs like an R&B song, I Bust the Windows Out Your Car. That is promoting violence, because it starts with busting the windows out your car, and then it starts with, when I catch you, I'm going to stick you up with a knife. Breakup music. There's been songs that has encouraged violence against your ex-partner. Like I said, I Bust Your Windows Out Your Car was One, for those of you who don't know, that song, yeah, a lot of domestic violence happened behind it. Oh, okay, Carrie Underwood, maybe you think before he cheat. You see how we going through these different songs and these different genres of music, and I haven't got to rap music yet. And I'm telling you guys and girls, as law-abiding citizens, but as citizens of the world, you gotta open your mind. You can't always just listen to what the mainstream tells you, because they don't never give you the full story. The news is supposed to be unbiased, but there's no such thing. Most news channels or news organizations are very, very biased. They pick and choose how, when, and what stories they're going to talk about and which way they're going to sway you to think, instead of giving the facts. I'm only giving the facts, whether you like it or not. I'm not being biased. I'm going down the line and showing you. So I've named all these different genres of music that's not real popular amongst urban people, or, you know, urban is another word for black. But you go down all these songs, and then you start going down domestic violence reports. You start listening and you watching, reading these comment sections of some of these songs and stuff, and you'll have males and females talking about how this song inspired them to do something. That song inspired them to do something physically to somebody. Or that song, boy, every time I get angry, I turn on that song. How many of us have said that throughout our life? When we get real angry, we go turn on a specific song. And usually what that song does is fucking hypes us up. It hypes us up. Because we feel like we can channel our anger through that song and it'll calm us down. Thank you. I remember there was times when I was in high school that I would get angry, and the Ghetto Boys had dropped the Resurrection album. And I would go home and just turn up the Blind Leading the Blind. Or turn up the song I Just Want to Die. And listen to that. Or I would go put on some other stuff to turn on. And I would channel my anger through that song. But I remember hearing songs that I was already at the tipping point that sent me out there, had me fist fighting. I'm just being real and laying it out to you guys and girls. And as I say, if you just stick with me, I'm going to get to the inspiration of this video, but I'm going down the line. See, here in the Alert Zone, when we teach, I don't teach you something I don't know. If I can't prove it, I'm not going to tell you that is a fact. I can prove that. I can show you. You guys and girls are giving me information about songs and things I never heard. That you see, this song encouraged a lot of violence. This song encouraged people to commit violence acts. That's a fact. I bust the windows out your car might start as property damage, but it's not meant for property damage. It's meant to draw you out so they can attack you. For those of you who don't know, go watch the movie Friday. Do you remember that next Friday, Day-Day's girlfriend would attack his car to get him to come outside? It's a known fact that women would always say, especially in New Orleans, Gen X, pause and play can amen to this, where the women would say, mess his car up to get him to come out. Because when you come out, whatever she got in her hand, she gonna use on you. But she gonna use your car to get you to come out of there. You come out, she stick your tire. You come out, the next thing you know, she trying to stick you. Or her brother or her cousin or whatever crash dummy she got out there is willing to put a bullet in your head behind her. And she could be dead wrong. Yep, bait you out. And a song like I Bust the Windows Out Your Car, I know for a fact, there was a response to that. I can't find it on YouTube called I Went Downtown and Filed a Charge. That was a response to I Bust the Windows Out Your Car. It had the same beat. And it talked about how she bust the windows out of his car and he went downtown and filed the charge because he knew she was trying to draw him out so she can attack him. See, if we're going to tell the story about music and influence and violence, we got to tell the full story. We can't always single rap music out because you got a lot of heinous crimes happening in places where people don't even listen to rap music. So we're not gonna keep just pointing the finger at rap music. I'm giving you guys and girls facts. I'm not out here looking for a beef. I'm not trying to beef with nobody. I'm just pointing out that music does have an influence on violence. But the reason I asked the question is I know most people saw that post, that saw it, and the first thing came to their mind was rap music. I'm going to get to rap music in just a minute, but it's not going to end there. You guys and girls, if you've been with me for a while, you know where I'm going with this. If you knew, you don't know, but just stick with me. I'm going somewhere with this. Because I'm going to get to a crime that affects us all around the world. But there's always, I'm not going to cry. Do you know how much? Yeah, you're right about that, Destro. If you remember the song I'm Not Gonna Cry off the Wait to Exhale soundtrack, that was in direct response to the scene where Angela Bassett burns her husband's car and clothes. It starts with your car and your clothes, bleaching your clothes, things like that. Songs that encourage mess his stuff up, take his stuff. That's to bait you out so they can actually attack you. Yeah, you're right. Not Gonna Cry. It seems like a somber song and that she's sobbing. Yeah, it encourages violence. Believe it or not. It doesn't have to say the word violent to encourage it. Because all you have to do is be in the wrong mood and it'll encourage you to go that extra step. Like I said, you just got, from all them different genres of music I just named, you can go and find multiple incidents where those songs had a violent outcome. It's just rap music is the one they choose to put on TV. Rap music is the one they choose to attack. And before I even get to this rap subject, let me make this clear. I hear a lot of people say they don't like rap music. I don't argue with them that they don't like rap music, but I do ask them why. And I ask them, when they say I just don't like it, I ask them simple questions. I point out, so what? Because they use the word nigga? Because a lot of y'all that don't listen to rap music use that word. What? Because they promote violence? A lot of y'all promote violence and watch violent TV shows. What? Because they cuss? Some of us cuss like sailors. So what? Because they talk about sexual content? Hell, sexual content is all over the damn TV. Hell, it damn near didn't hit the cartoons now. So what is it about rap music you don't like? Because everything I just pointed out is a part of rap music and everybody partakes in everything I just talked about. What? Because it talks about sex? The stork don't deliver babies without sex. None of us wouldn't be here. So what? You don't like music, rap music, because it talk about that? Like I said, because it used cuss words? Everything I just pointed out goes on in society where rap music is not played. You know what I'm saying? When somebody tells you, it's one thing to say I don't listen to it. It's another reason to say I don't like it. But when you point out all the elements of rap music, people can't argue with you. What, you gonna tell me all right, we got Brazil in the house. Brazil, Blanca. What, you gonna tell me that you don't cuss? What, you gonna tell me that you don't have sexual conversations? What, you gonna tell me that you don't drink? You don't like rap music because they talk about drinking and you drink. You gonna tell me you don't like rap music because they smoke weed, talking about smoking weed, and you got a fucking blunt in your hand? Or you going to the nearest cannabis shop, or what have you? What is it about rap music you gonna tell me you don't like that you don't do? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So let's go ahead on and get to rap music. So I saved this because I know everybody thought the obvious was gonna be, well, this was gonna be about rap music. Now I wanted to show you there's other genres of music that is responsible for a lot of violence, but it's not put into the proper context like I just did it. That's why you gotta come to places like this. This is the nutritionist channel. This is the cauliflower and Brussels sprouts. Everybody else that shoot, my brother Black Rambo, the Honest Outlaw, Hickok 45, Autumn's Armory, those hamburger, french fry, fried shrimp, fried catfish, etouffee, all that type of stuff. I'm the cauliflower and Brussels sprouts channel. You gotta have me to balance it out. Now, rap music. There's certain songs that they know when certain people are in the crowd not to play. There are certain songs that's played when it comes to rap music that everybody knows is gonna be a fight because two groups in here that don't like each other, or you got some ignorant fool up in here. All he or she does need is to hear this song, and they'll start acting a damn fool. Everybody knows that. Hell, some of the songs will tell you this is the type of stuff that gets you beat up. This fighting music we about to put on. At least they're honest and upfront about what it is. I gotta respect that. For you guys who don't know, some of the Crunk songs, yeah. The song Never Scared. You get a couple of real dudes up in there that don't care for each other and you put that on, yeah. You're asking for trouble. All it takes is for one of those dudes to go over the edge. We had some songs down in New Orleans. When you played them, when they played that knuckle 'em up, knuckle up, knuckle up, you know what's about to happen. Gangster rap music, NWA, Dr. Dre, Eazy, Ice Cube, all that type of stuff there. All the way to the East Coast, up north, down south. Gangster rap music has had its influence on the streets. It started from 3 6 Mafia. Throw your signs in there. Yep. Before I go any further, I'll tell you guys something. So Lil Jon and the East Side Boys made this song, Put Your Hood Up. Everybody that I ran with, all of my closest relatives, I mean the ones where we like this, when they heard that song, they all called me. I remember times we would go out partying and they would go tell the DJ to play that song. Now me with my no dancing ass, I can't dance. When that song came on, I was coming out on the floor. I loved those types of songs. Them songs putting your hood up. Put up your section of town. I loved those when I was coming up. Thank goodness it never turned into a fist fight. But I have gotten chest to chest with people throwing up my hood. So yes, I can attest. There were songs such as Welcome to the Section. The song by Juvenile, Rest His Soul, Bulletproof, and BG. It was on the Soldier Rags album. That was a riding song. Put Your Hood Up. Welcome to the Section was a riding song. There was a couple of more of them. Slipped my mind right. Oh, the Hot Boys had a song called Riding on the Guerrilla Warfare album. Yeah. If you old New Orleans, you know what I'm talking about. you know they can still play that song right now and the club gonna go off. So there was Mellow Bucks is her name, I think. Had an album release party in Chicago. I think last week or something. I don't know much about her. I heard she's supposed to be a drill rapper. I don't. Drill music. I listened to some of it. I'll be honest with y'all. I like Lil Durk. I like his song with King Von, Crazy Story. It's to my understanding, Chief Keef made the first drill song, that genre of drill. I listened to some of it. Oh yeah, I still be rocking Soldier Rags. I still got mine. Y'all seen that next to my chopper on the community tab. I still listen to Soldier Rags. I'll listen to that this week while I was driving. But this drill music, it has encouraged a lot of violence. With gangster rap, when it started, it would speak as the rapper being in the third person and telling the story. My understanding, as quote unquote gangster rap evolved, more of the rappers started actually get into committing these crimes. Now, some of them were already criminals, and it was like a backwards. The ones who wasn't in the street started going out in the street to try and prove themselves, and they wound up ruining their careers. But you had ones that was already street guys and girls that went into rap to get away from the street. They told the stories about what they did and talk in the third person. Then it became more and more of the artists got to be out there. Drill rap got real popular. And we have seen the carnage of drill rap. And so Mellow Bucks had a album release party. It was a drive-by shooting. My understanding is she was targeted and the people that was killed were targeted. The rumor is that she's supposed to be a part of some gang. I don't know. That's neither here nor there. The reason I brought that up is I went in the comment section. And somebody said we need to ban drill rap. And I thought that was a very interesting take. I read some of the replies, and they was like, with all the violence that drill rap promotes and drill rappers. For those of you who don't know, a lot of rappers, now that they come in, especially out of federal prison, they putting these clauses on them that when they get out, they can't rap about certain things until their parole is over. So they're trying to put a stranglehold. For those of you who know the YSL, Young Thug got things he can't talk about that could be considered to be gang or what have you. So, there was a lot of back and forth in the comment section about this particular thing, and the comments, the usual suspects, the 13 percenters, all the dog whistle words came out. And I pointed out about Stephen Paddock in the Las Vegas massacre at the country music concert, and some people agreed, and one guy said I was off my rockers because I brought that up, but I wanted to just point out that, wait a minute, the most deadliest mass shooting in modern American history happened at a country music concert. Now, I just showed you guys and girls how country music has its genre of influence and violence. What are you guys singing about? Because we don't hear it mainstream don't mean you don't talk about it. What are you guys talking about in country music that somebody shot this up? And it led me to point out something. And this was the inspiration for this live stream. A lot of you might not be familiar with the rock group KMFDM. Here's an unfun fact about that group. I've never heard their music. I don't know what they promote. Apparently, there's something about them because since Columbine, worldwide, the majority of the school shooters have been inspired by KMFDM. Did you know that? Do you know that school shootings have become to the point worldwide where they're having active shooter drills? Now, this is not rap music. You've been taught rap music is the most violent form of music and it promotes the most violence. Yet every time school starts, from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year, everybody that has a child or has a family member or friend that is in school, yeah, it's a German band. All day we worry about is today going to be the day that we're going to get that call that this particular school got shot up. Remember, Klebo and Harris had those shirts on when they were pulling their little massacre. At the time, I had no idea. I never even paid attention to their shirt. It was decades later, couple years ago. Last school year, there was a school shooting where in Madison, Wisconsin, you had a young girl kill 4 people. She talked about in her manifesto her love for that group, KMFDM. Now, I wanted you guys to understand something about throwing stones from a glass house. There's not one rap song that promotes shooting up a school. Well, let me take that back. It's replaying a school shooting on Tyler the Creator's Wolf album. He has a song where he's talking in the third person about this kid that's planning a school shooting. Did you know that there's a song called I Don't Like Mondays? That song was made in 1979 by a British group about a song about a school shooting that happened in Cleveland, Ohio in America, where Brenda Spencer killed the custodian and the principal. She wounded 8, including children and a police officer. Most of us never heard of this because I was born in 79. So this wasn't of the modern era. And in 1979, a school shooting song was made. Also, for you guys and girls who never heard the song Pumped Up Kicks. Pumped Up Kicks is about school shootings. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks better run faster than my bullet. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks better run, outrun my gun. I want you guys and girls to think about that. So, yes, go and look that song up, Pumped Up Kicks. Go listen to it. As a matter of fact, here in Iowa, that song came on the radio several times. And I would bob my head, but I never paid attention to the words until somebody told me, you know that song about school shootings, right? I said, nah. Went in YouTube, didn't put in my earphones, and sure enough. Yeah, pause and play. Go listen to that song real good. That song is about a school shooting, a kid shooting up the school. And he's telling all the kids that they better run because he's going to shoot them. So I said all that to say this. Music has its part in violence. But it's not only limited to rap music. You've been taught, because rap music is very broad, very blunt, and very mainstream, that rap music encourages more violence than any other genre. These school shootings happen worldwide, not just here in America. These school shootings have been happening all around the world. And for the ones who couldn't shoot up the schools, They went on stabbing sprees at these schools. The majority of them got the band KMFDM in common. When you read their little scribblings, when you read their little manifestos and stuff, they talk about how much they love that band and how much they revere that band. Now, I personally have never listened to their music, so I don't know what they sing about. What I'm telling you is, whatever they're singing about, they're influencing or putting these kids over the line to go out and shoot up schools. Dylan Roof. Remember when Dylan Roof pulled his little church massacre? Dylan Roof was a listener of that band. So I just gave you guys and girls facts about different genres of music that promote violence. Some of y'all that's hearing this, or you may catch it on the replay, if you listen to me, I just opened up your mind to a bunch of genres of music and a bunch of different songs you never even thought about. I just gave some of y'all, and if everybody would just listen to this, whenever you finish listening to this live stream, whenever you finish listening to this, if you catch it on a replay, go back and go through all these different genres of music that's not rap music and listen to the lyrics. Go read the comment sections. Put you some earphones on so you can hear all the words clear. Get somewhere where you can hear. People don't distract you. You can go, all this music is not mainstream. One thing about YouTube, YouTube has a lot of videos and songs that you never heard on the mainstream, but they exist. You go and listen to some of this stuff, and you'll swear up and down, damn, if I didn't know no better, I would think that this is gangster rap music, and here I'm in country, or I'm in R&B, or I'm in some other genre of music listening to this. It promotes all genres of music, with the exception of gospel, that I know of, has a stringent where it promotes violence. In different languages too. Because like I said, those narco corridos, those are in Spanish. That promotes violence. You know what I'm saying? You get outside the country, people, because they don't speak English, don't mean they don't make these kind. Hell, you got some guy, I'ma try and be nice. You had some empty-headed, thunderhead, peanut head in the UK say they started drill music. But they singing about drill music in the UK. Now everybody know drill music is talking about shooting. There's rap music all over the world. There's other forms of music all over the world. Because you don't understand it, don't mean that it's not preaching for violence. You know, in Viking land up there in Scandinavia, they probably got all kinds of songs about killing and head chopping and stuff like that. We just don't consume it, but that don't mean it's not there. Because we don't live in those places, we don't see it on the news. That don't mean that music is not. You can't have the amount of violence you have in this world and blame everything on rap music. Yep. You can't blame. A lot of this stuff was going on before rap music. A lot of this stuff, like I said, is in places where American rap music is not played like that. And yet they just as violent as can be. What do you blame that on? How can a person that don't understand English go out and commit all these heinous crimes? Yeah, all cultures have war and violence. I talked about the movies. For you guys and girls that know, the Godfather movies, them Italian movies, them mafia, the Sopranos, all the fucking killing that go on in the Sopranos. These novellas in Spanish. Some of these novellas ain't got nothing but fucking killing in them. All the damn, like I said, the mafioso movies, Casino, Scarface, the mobsters, yeah. Casino, Scarface, the Godfather movies, Goodfellas. We love all that. And it's nothing but violence from the beginning of... Hell, Goodfellas come on with damn violence. Somebody in the car. And they get in there and fucking stab him again and shoot him. It comes on with violence. We love this stuff. How many people close to Italian culture you think that got influenced by that? Yeah, Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad. Was it Empire Boardwalk or Boardwalk Empire? Sons of Anarchy. You see what I'm saying?
Backdoor.
Yeah. But here's the problem. The word thug has an image, but the image don't always meet the meaning. Because being a thug, there's an act that goes with it, not an image. We've all been trained to go after the image, like Enron. Those guys was thugs. Bernie Madoff was a thug. Bernie Madoff destroyed a lot of people's lives. He didn't have to pull a bullet up to their head to ruin their lives, but he destroyed a lot of people's lives. So, the definition and the image don't always match. I know that's what we think and that's what we're taught, but the definition and the image don't always match. It's one thing to be the image of something, and it's another thing to actually be the definition of it. And a lot of people around the world have been given images of things and not the definitions. So they don't look for the definition, they curate on the image. And a lot of times, that's bad. Yep. You're right about that if you focus on the image. Because I tell you what, for all the stuff you want to say about Pookie and Ray Ray, they ain't running up in the fucking churches and airing the joints out. As much as they fight at school, you don't hear about them running up in the class and airing the joint out. That's everybody have their issues. It's why I decided I wanted to do this live stream. But I wanted to point out with music. Because as I say, you can go through all these genres of music. Wherever you're listening to in this world that you see this, there's a genre of music in a language I may not be able to understand that talks about the same shit rap music does. Very same thing. They may not use those words, but they talk about the same thing. Because you can't have all this violence, drug use and all this around the world, and it only be conformed to one particular group or one particular genre of music. You know what I'm saying? So, I just thought that I would bring that up, you know, especially because the group KMFDM, like I said, I don't know their music, they have been the inspiration since Columbine, at least, for school shootings. And a lot of people have never made that connection because the mainstream media didn't point that out. Like I said, there's pictures of Claiborne Harris with the damn shirts on. This girl up here in Wisconsin, she's got a picture of her at home taking a selfie with that shirt on. And then you start going through these other manifestos and they all start talking about how much they love that group. And let's be honest, we know Germany is associated with Nazism. That's the rap that Germany gets. Anytime you talk about anything negative in Germany, the word Nazi, the picture of Adolf Hitler comes to everybody's mind. So and Aryan, you already know how that term has tarnished the world. So I just thought that I would do this and point out to everybody. Brazil, I know y'all got a form of music down there in Brazil with them barrios down there while they sing about the life. I mean, I'm not attacking people because of their circumstances. I'm only pointing something out. There's violence influences, like I said, with the exception I know of gospel, basically all genres of music. If you open your mind and listen to a bunch of it, you'll start listening to some of these words and saying, damn, if I didn't know no better, this guy or this girl was talking about going to do something to somebody. Violence is violence. Whether you think it's justified or not, whether it's out of anger or not. I'm just pointing something out. So I just wanted everybody to know we can't just single rap music out. You can't say we got to get rid of rap music. Yeah, okay, it's a lot of violence in Jamaica, but not their music. I don't listen to a lot of. I mean, I've listened to a little bit of reggae here and there. Little bit of. I don't, like I said, I don't know a lot about Jamaican music. Yeah. Who don't? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So this is not a. This topic is why you need to be legally armed. Because you never know where you're gonna be at, and you never know what people is thinking, and you never know what kind of genre of music. Like I said, a lot of these school shooters didn't listen to rap music, and yet they went and shot up the school. So where did they learn this from? And then years and years later, yeah, train all the time too. And years later, this thing about KMFDM comes out, and it starts showing, in all these manifestos, they all had a thing for this particular band. And I started thinking, damn, mosh pit music, heavy metal, death metal, being around people that speak Spanish, these narco corridos and stuff. Hey, wait a minute. Shit, some of this shit just as bad as rap music. It just ain't, we ain't the one singing it. You listen to some of this reggaeton and all this shit, it's about just as violent as listening to NWA on Niggas for Life. It's the same shit. They might just use different cadences and different words, same context. So I just thought that I would do this live stream to point that out to everybody, to let everybody know. Don't let the mainstream media fool you. I'm here to cleanse your mind and open up your alertness. Because people have so many violent things happen to them because they've been taught you have to watch they've been taught to watch an image rather than watching action. So when people see a particular person, they figure, yeah, this one has got to be the one I gotta watch. I told you guys and girls, serial killers. They don't look like Jason Voorhees or Michael Myers. Serial killers look like Ted Bundy or the girl next door or Ariel Castro. They look like people like that. That's what serial killers look like. Serial killers don't look like this image they put in your head. That's why they've been Dennis Rader, the BTK killer. If this idiot would have kept his mouth shut, nobody in a gazillion years would ever guess that he was the BTK killer. But he kept taunting law enforcement. And because he put a braggadocious thing on his DVD that he bought and sent it into law enforcement, they tracked where he bought it from, and that's how they found it. He was a church member. He was active in the church. He talked about these crimes as though he was talking about playing a video game. But nobody in a million years would ever guess that that man was a serial killer. Because serial killers are very cunning and they very ordinary looking people. That's how they get to be serial killers. Because the people that fit a particular image, you're always under surveillance. You're always under surveillance. So while we're watching for Tyrone and John Tavius growing his little long dreadlocks out of his head, and he got them all lined up, He got them all clean and pretty looking. While we're worried about throwing him out of school for the locks he growed out of his hair. We got old long hair Colt Gray down there in Georgia who gets to run up in school with his long hair and his AR-15 and air the fucking joint out. Because we've been taught to attack an image and not a definition. Just think about that for 1 minute. There was the case of this kid in Texas still fighting to get back in school. And they said the only way a district judge, not even the school board, a district judge said the only way I'll let him back in school and raise the junction on him is if he cut his hair. Yeah. Here's the problem with the comment you just made. Unfortunately, it's supposed to be entertainment. But I'm telling you what music has influence, whether you like it or not. I understand in theory that's what it's supposed to be. I'm telling you about what it is in practice. In theory, we know the difference between the real thing and music. The problem is, in practice, that's not what's happening. Just like in theory, when you in the streets, you don't target innocent people. But in practice, that's not what's happening. Yeah. Here's the problem. I understand about these kids coming up in desensitized eras and being desensitized. Yeah, you're right. You're right about understanding the difference. Unfortunately, you guys and girls have to understand something. All of our experiences wasn't the same. Some of us grew up in areas where when you went in the store, Lavelle Crawford. You remember when Lavelle Crawford talked about when his mama would take him in the store and she would tell him, hell, when we got the Kung Fu books that taught you how to draw the karate bands in the library from school, we would get out there and play Kung Fu in the yard. You know? But when Lavelle Crawford talked about how when his mama would take him in the store and she would give him that talk. Everybody didn't grow up like that. Don't ask for shit. Don't touch shit. You guys, some of y'all, if you were in Generation X and you grew up in the hood, you knew the talk we had. We finna go in this store. Don't touch nothing unless you got money to pay for it. I better not have to look for you. When I turn around, I better see you. If I can't find you, it's going to be a problem. Everybody knew that. But everybody didn't grow up like that. And that's what we have to understand. You're a 92 baby? Well, you caught the tail end of that. You're born in 92. You caught the tail end of that. When we go in the store, don't touch nothing. Don't ask for nothing. Well, I tell you, there was people when I came up in the 80s, they didn't have the same experience. They was allowed to go in the store and put their hands on everything. So, in theory, yeah, you're right. Pause and play. Cross. Your ass better not go and cross and put your hands on nothing. Yeah, you're right about that. Don't get high off your own supply. You're supposed to sell that stuff, not use it. Now the damn weed man, the weed man is getting high off coke. The coke man is getting high off heroin. The heroin man, he's getting high off mollies. I mean, You got a bunch of shooters and a bunch of drug dealers that stay fucking high. How the hell they make any fucking money out there? Everybody high. That's why you got all this. Let me just go ahead on and address this since y'all brought it up. That's why you got all this unnecessary violence in the fucking streets out there. All these guys is high as fucking batshit. Let me make this clear. All this. Yeah, all this. When I came up, you might see people that smoke weed. They might drink. All this street dudes. I mean, addicts use heroin, but I mean, like, these dudes that's supposed to be street dudes using heroin and cocaine and was it Molly's and what was it, Percocet or whatever, this prescription drug. I didn't even know what the fuck that shit was. All this prescription drug that these people be popping. Yeah, I didn't even know what that shit was. And hood dudes didn't do all that. Now, man, these guys so damn strung out. That's why every time you look up, they out here fucking airing the joint out. That's why they out here committing all these silly crimes and pause and play. You know the reputation of gangster. Everybody in the city of New Orleans knew who gangster was. If you never seen him, you knew his reputation. His reputation preceded him. Don't matter if he was on the East Bank, West Bank, what. His reputation preceded him. He talked about how he never had to get high when he went out to go and stretch somebody out. He talked about he didn't regret his life in the street because he never targeted innocent people. Yeah, in theory, that's what the street's supposed to be, but that ain't what it is no more. I told you guys and girls, look, the streets is full of rapists. It's full of sexual criminals. It's full of snitches. It's full of everything else. And the prisons is like that now. All the old timers in the streets done died out, or they done gave it up. And all the old timers in the fucking prisons dying, or they getting too old to be active. These young dudes, all of the streets in the prison, it's just two places now. People looking for information to trade when they get caught. When they get caught with a gun, hey, you let me go, I'll tell you John murdered Peanut around the corner. If I go to jail for my gun charge and I ain't got nothing on nobody, I'm going to start talking to people in prison. These dudes coming in jail so I can find out something about his case. So I can... The jailhouse is full of that. It's full of dudes. All this, I be looking at these comments of people talking about what the child molesters and what the rapists can't do in jail. Tory Lanez got stabbed by a guy that's serving life for rape. How was he even allowed to walk in general population? I'll tell you how. Because the fucking jailhouse full of people like that now. They done overran the jails. It's full of sexual criminals. All that shit about the street politics and all that. Look, do what you want. Can't tell you what to do. The streets is over. The dope game is over. That money out there, it ain't worth it no more. It's only a matter of time. Don't nobody keep quiet. The dope game is over. Going to prison, running your little prison stores and your prison hustles, that's over now. Because all these fools done got back there with these cell phones. I'm not supposed to know that they back there eating IHOP, that they got the prison guards bringing all this. I'm not supposed to see videos. You can get on YouTube right now and look at videos of dudes or Facebook or whatever you got and look at videos of dudes filming what the fuck they do in jail. We not supposed to know that. Our phone's supposed to be contraband in jail. But that's why so many of them in prison, because they shut up. They can't shut up. They out here committing these crimes when they high on bat shit, and then they get back there and it's the same thing. In OPP, long before this prison break, a couple years ago, I seen videos of dudes posted and made it to YouTube, posting themselves that they got guns in the cell, literal firearms, Real bullets and everything. That ain't nobody's business. I seen that idiot. I don't know how he was getting out. On the weekends, they would let him out. He would be walking Bourbon Street, posting himself on social media. I'm supposed to be in OPP right now, and I'm out here walking up Bourbon, fitted up. So, look, the dope game is over. Period, point blank. Ain't no making no money and getting out. It's over. You can't do that no more. It's only a matter of time. Period, point blank. Do what you want. I say this. If that's the lane that you choose, you got to take everything come with it. Just like you get to enjoy the riches if you can get them. Getting set up to get robbed. Getting set up to get shot by somebody you know. You from what, Orlando? Okay. Getting set up to go to prison. All that's a part of the streets now. Getting ratted on. You got to take it all, or you got to leave it alone. Because you can't pick and choose. That's a part of the streets now. If you want to sign up for that, be my guest. I just don't want to hear you on the news. Or I don't want to see you on social media crying about how you got snitched on. Because you know that's all the streets is full of. These little boys and these girls committing these crimes when they high, when they come down off they high, and they face that judge like that little young boy did out there in, was it North Carolina or South Carolina? I want to say in that, was that Rock Hill area? That 16-year-old, when they marched him in there and told him they was going to be charging him with murder as an adult, and he didn't have no mind, that little boy broke down in tears. I almost wanted to feel sorry for him. But he intentionally went and killed one of his schoolmates. Reality set in. South Carolina, you know which one I'm talking about. So all I'm saying is, if you're going to sign up for the streets, you got to take everything that come with it. You got to take the bitter and the sweet. Everybody wants the sweet and want to give the bitter away. Well, I think you're very unintelligent if you're going to get in the game that you know it's only a matter of time before somebody sets you up or before you go to jail. It's only a matter of time. I don't care how much love you show people. I don't care how much people can come to you and triple their money. When the shit hit the fan, 9 times out of 10, somebody gonna rat you out. And if they doing bad, they will come and rob you. And if you don't give it up, they will blow your head off. It's just that simple. It ain't worth it no more. You know the rules, and you decide to partake in it. All I'm saying is, take it. You gotta lay down and you gotta take it. You gonna make a bed out of spikes. When they lock you up, you gotta go in there, turn around, lay on your back, and call it acupuncture. Yeah, the Art of the Deal, the Street Edition. Yeah, you're right about that. So I'm just saying, you know, I've seen it. I seen what it was. I seen what it started evolving to, and I see what it is now. And all it is just a steady cycle of the cemetery or the grave or the jail. You know, they used to tell you back in the 80s when we had them officer friendlies. For those of y'all who are old enough to remember that, when we used to have officer friendly, when law enforcement actually would come to the fucking schools and talk to us, they would say, the streets got 2 ways out. The graveyard or the jailhouse. In Louisiana, in New Orleans in particular, they would tell you, you can either go to Providence or you can go to Angola. Either or. Take your pick. Providence Memorial Park is the cemetery. Angola is the state prison. And back then, Angola would have dudes that's got 5 years selling around a bunch of lifers. So dudes would go in there with a 5-year sentence and come out 30 years later. Because every time they got ready to make parole, somebody would pick a fight with them in front of a guard. And they would get rolled up again. There was that old saying in prison of, You know, bro, I heard you just made parole. You know I can't let you leave before me. This from a guy who got life with no parole. What does he have to lose? All the smart guys, when they started getting parole, started asking to go to the hole until they got out. Then finally the state decided that they done railroaded enough people that once you got under a certain amount of time, they would move you out of Angola. Or if you had a certain amount of time, they wouldn't even send you. That's when hunts started getting real populated. Well, I mean, think about this. Pause and play. Yeah, it's crabs in the barrel, but you're around a bunch of dudes who ain't got nothing to lose. They say misery loves company. Yeah. So, they say misery loves company. So for a guy who's made his mind up, I'm going to spend the next 40 or 50 years in prison, what does he have to lose picking a fight with you? Nothing. He's not going home. He's already accepted that he's not going home. You the one going home. It's a motherfucker, man. And it's a part of the game. And if that's what you're going to sign up for, you just got to take it. That's all I tell people. When it comes to the streets, you got to take everything that go with it. You can't talk about what it used to be because it's not that anymore. I remember the days. Hell, I remember in New Orleans, back when the dudes would get out there and sling that iron, they would tell us to go inside. Hey, so back in the 80s, they would call us Lil Daddy. You know, that's an old New Orleans slang there, Lil Daddy. Lil Daddy. Hey, man, take y'all shit and go inside. Because this motherfucker so-and-so coming around here. If the motherfucker don't have my money, or he talking about what he gonna do when he see me, he come around here, I'm gonna fucking put him on his ass. Everybody went inside. Now, some of us that was more intrigued with the life will go to the fucking window and peek out the window to see if we can see anything. Enough for us to catch a fucking stray bullet. But back then, guys would actually get up on people that they was going after. It wasn't all this fucking airing the damn street out. But you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm just keeping it real with y'all, as they say. Some of us, we would fucking go to the window and peek. We would try and get in the corner because we figured that it would come through the glass before through the wall. Peek out that blind and see. And this would be at night and in day. I remember those days. Hell, I even remember the times where dudes that was in the street wouldn't let certain people partake in certain things. It ain't like that no more, but I'm just saying. You can't get into the streets looking for what was, because what was isn't anymore. So I don't want to hear nobody telling me about, man, that's messed up, I got ratted on. As they say, I'm giving you the game. Look, stay your ass on the porch, man. Stay your ass on the porch. It's cameras everywhere. Everybody got a fucking cell phone. Everybody like to talk. Man, stay your ass on the fucking porch, man. Stay your ass on your porch with your rocking chair, your cup of whatever it is you like to drink, and enjoy the festivities. Now get your fucking ass off that porch, man. Because I'm telling you, man, it ain't what it was. It ain't what it was. I reminisce about that. I think about the old days. Back to street days. It's not that no more. It's a camera, or there's always somebody that want to tell something. Knowing that and to keep participating in that, water down. And I can attribute this to you can't do the kind of time they're giving you now. I remember back in the days, boy, 20 years was almost a life sentence. Man, you can't do that time, man. Them little slaps on the wrist they used to give. You can't do that kind of time, man. Think about this. You're 21 years old. You got a child or you got a couple children. Got your nice one lady. Making a little money in the street. You get caught up. And at 21 years old, they telling you, plead guilty and we'll give you 40. But if we got to convict you, we ain't coming back with nothing less than life. At 21 years old, you're going to take a 40-year plea. Now on the state, you might do 20 of that. 10, 15, 20, depends. Before you can come up for parole. And that don't mean you guarantee parole. Think about that. Hell, if you go in there 21 and you come out at 41, 42 years old, half your life gone already. Your children grown. But think about this. Let me just go ahead on since we having this conversation and I'm enjoying it with everybody. For those of you who don't know the conspiracy charges and the way the feds see, because we always hear about the crime bill and the 1986 Anti-Drug Abuse Act and all that. But the icing on the cake was when the feds stepped in with the conspiracy laws. Do you know just associating with certain people can get you caught up in a conspiracy? That's conspiring now under the law. All you need is you and your friend to be like this. Just you and your friend to be close like this. I mean, like, as we would say back in the days,
Backdoor.
two dudes that'll take a bullet for each other. And both of y'all get caught selling drugs. Do you know, just only y'all two, they don't have to be nobody else involved, but because it's two or more y'all, do you know you meet the requirements for a RICO charge? Everybody thinks that RICO means that it's got to be 20 or 30 y'all. No, under the law, they only need to prove you and your close friend was going together. That's it. That's a RICO charge. Because it's more than one of y'all. That's a criminal enterprise. So let's just say you and your boy, y'all score together all the time. These people watching you, and your boy got to stretch somebody out. You might have been at home in the bed sleep. That's your murder charge now. You know why? Because they see y'all two as a criminal enterprise and that he killed somebody to further the enterprise. So now you facing life without parole under federal law and under some of these state laws. See, there's a lot of people that don't know that. Me being a nerd, you know I read a lot. That's the way these laws are worded. It's a trap, man. You can't do that kind of time, man. I remember kingpins used to go and, as they say, pay their political contribution. You do 2, 3 years, 4 years, get out, keep the shit going. Now with these laws they got out here now. There's a American Gangster, not the movie, but the series. Yup. American Gangster, the series. There was in the second season, Melvin Williams. Melvin Williams talked about how he finally gave up the game out there in Baltimore. He said, because you can't do the kind of time that they giving out. I want you guys and girls, especially the youth, I want y'all to understand something, man. The streets is done for. The streets is done for. For those of you who don't know, there's people sitting in federal prison right now from the 80s and the 90s that has never sold a piece of crack, never touched a piece of crack. But because they lived in a particular neighborhood, they got caught up in a RICO. Just being friends with somebody. See, that's what the conspiracy, that's the part. And me being from New Orleans, I remember when guys and girls would get arrested and people would be saying, but this one doesn't sell drugs. But because you friends with somebody. Hell, I can remember being talked to by law enforcement throughout my years when I was back home because I was on a picture with somebody. Just something as simple as that. You know we can charge you with conspiracy, right? Well, fuck, I'm not supposed to talk to him or her because I know him? You be dapping them up. In New Orleans, we have a lot of block parties where we used to. It ain't used to be nothing to find a DJ. Everybody call them block parties. We used to call them DJs. Then we started calling them block parties. It was nothing to see. Any day of the week you could see a DJ. Well, in the DJ, everybody's out in the DJ. So what? Because you see this guy or this girl that's into the street, you can't fucking speak to him. We all grew up around each other. So we friends. We laugh, we giggle, and the next thing you know, you got people pulling up on you talking about, hey, come on, you need to come downtown and talk to us. They ask you if you know so-and-so. All they want to know if you're going to lie. Well, yeah, I know so-and-so. Yeah, you know what he or she does? Well, I heard what he or she does. I don't know why. Then they start pulling the pictures out. Ain't that y'all? Well, fuck, we had the block party. So what, I can't talk to him? Yep, Sunday under the Claiborne overpass. Yeah, they got pictures of y'all. You spoke to them. I mean, just something as simple as speaking to somebody. When they trying to get somebody, you can get rounded up in that. And there's people that went to prison during the crack epidemic, during the crackdown, that never sold a piece of drugs. Never sold a piece of drugs. Just because they lived on a particular block. Or back in New Orleans in the projects. You know, when they came to clear one courtway out, they took everybody. They start at one end of the court and just fucking start snatching. Going damn hallway to damn hallway. Once they done finished the roundup, you got 30 motherfuckers standing up out there, handcuffed, head down. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, I know of people that went to prison in the 80s that we knew wasn't into that. And then the addicts. People that was a known drug addict. All this motherfucker did was smoke crack. You're gonna give somebody that all they do is smoke crack 40 fucking years in federal prison? They're not distributing, they're not none of that. They're the addict. And mind you, when a lot of these busts happen, they don't always find drugs. So, I just wanted everybody to understand that. You know, look, music has its influences. Because if it can influence a man and a woman to lay down and make children, it can influence people to go out and commit crimes. All I'm saying is, I've pointed out a fact a lot of y'all never thought about. Yeah, that's on you. I've just pointed out something a lot of y'all never thought about. That it's not only rap music that promotes violence. That's why I didn't put in the title, does rap music promote violence? Oh shit. 2025, a different business. A different business. We got Well Dressed Tactical catching up. Shout out to you, brother. A different business. Yeah, man. So, you know what? I'm going to tell you this. In New Orleans, we used to have a DJ. We used to have on FM 98 at night, Mellow Moods, Papa Smurf. If you're from New Orleans and you was born after about 1995, hell, if you was born after the 1980, Papa Smurf probably part of the reason you here. Back in the days when we had cassette tapes, we would wait for Mellow Moods to come on at 8 o'clock. We would sit by the radio, have our empty tape up in there, and it's 8 o'clock, you know, that little like rainwater would come on and Papa Smurf would talk. You're not tuned into Mellow Moods on FM 98, Papa Smurf. Boy, look at here. When them songs go to coming on, you hit that record button. When they go to the commercial, you hit the pause. When they come back on, you hit the record button. Do you know how many of us used to use that to get the girls in the mood? You know, back then we were still young, so it was the little hug, smoosh, smoosh, but still. Quiet storm, blow a wind. You know I can't sing. Free tape. The most gangsterish dudes in New Orleans had they Papa Smurfs and Mellow Mood tapes back then. Because it puts you in that mood. When you on your job, certain music motivates you to work harder. When you're in the gym, certain music motivates you to take it easy, and certain music motivates you to get it in. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, music has an influence on violence, not just rap music. That's why I didn't name it that. And for those of you who have made it this far, I appreciate you, because you know, whether you see it in this live or you're going to catch it on a replay, I've, as they say, dotted the I's and crossed all the T's. I went over several genres of music that's not rap music and showed you where they promote violence. It doesn't have to say shoot the person for it to tell you to harm them. As I say it again, I bust the windows out your car. A lot of people got beat up behind that song. That's not a rap song. And like somebody said about Carrie Underwood, and you know, I talked about country music, your narco corridos and things like that. You know what? Maybe I do need it to be viral. You know, look, this is a Second Amendment channel. I'm gonna make that clear. I enjoy doing these live streams because I get to expunge up on the Second Amendment and show you guys and girls how so much of your life revolves around the Second Amendment that you never thought of. People hear the Second Amendment and all they think of is grabbing a gun and going out and shooting. A lot of times people don't even know why. I know mainstream media has given everybody tunnel vision around the world, and doing these live streams is way better than the pre-recorded, especially these topics. Now I know with the guns I have to do pre-recorded, and I had been promising you guys and girls I was gonna do more live streams. The stream's not gonna always be long like this one, but I want to do more live streaming and more interacting because I think people like that engagement. But yeah, man, you know, look, I done some shit. I done seen some shit. My mom, rest her soul. When I was young, my mom, when I did something wrong, my mama taught me something. When you are the perpetrator, you don't get to tell the victim how to feel. You don't get to pick out the punishment. You have to take it. However bad it is, son. Because you might think it's a small thing you did wrong, it might be something real big to the other person. You can't tell people how to feel when you victimize them. So I had to take it. As a kid, let me explain something to you. Back in the 80s and 90s, we played outside. Yeah, video games came along, but we was out there. You know, I appreciate that pause. Yeah, I done some shit in my life, man. And you don't get to pick the crime. You don't get to pick the punishment. You got to take it. And I learned that. And some things that you may think is this small may be this big to somebody else, man, and you got to take it. You have to understand it. And it made me... We played outside in the 80s and 90s. Straight up. Even as video games got popular, we were still outside. Sometime I would be punished. For some of y'all who don't know, back in the 80s, 2 days inside was like an eternity. I was doing all my jail time when I was young. It was nothing for me to get a month, 2 months, 3 months punished inside. I mean, literally. To the point where I tell you I couldn't drink nothing sweet, eat nothing sweet. I would write lines. One subject notebook, 70 sheets of paper, front and back, for all my old school people, before computers. My mama would make me write lines until my fingers cramped. My grandmother, rest her soul, would see me, and she'd be like, yeah. When she see me and be like, James, you in the soup again, huh? Like, yeah. I would get in trouble. And when we would be leaving my aunt's house or whatever and be going home, my friends would look at me and be like, how long? And whatever number I threw up, sometime I'd be, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. Oh, I got a month this time. And they'd be like, all right, we see you. Now, during school time, when school was in, I got to see him during school. When it was the summertime, if I had a month inside, 2 months inside, I stayed inside and I knock on wood. I never ever begged my mama to relieve me of my punishment. I took it. I took it. I took it. And for people who was there with me, they'll tell you, he took them. He took them punishments, and that's just what it was. And it taught me something as I got older. You make a bed, you got to lay in it. Sometimes I say, hey, when I make a bed out of spikes, I just turn around, lay on my back, and call it acupuncture. But I take it. You're going to be out here in these streets, you got to take it. The evolution of the streets, you got to take it. And a lot of people that's out here don't want to take it. I want you guys and girls around the world to understand something. We at a point in America now where they are going to foreign countries and snatching larger than life drug dealers. I mean, they've been doing it, but they're doing it on a grand scale now. So much to the point now that these drug kingpins from other countries are willing to make guilty pleas to not come to American prison. El Chapo tried his best to not be extradited to America. I think if he would have known that Mexico would have extradited him, let him be extradited, he never would have escaped prison that second time. Because he's never going to get out of prison here. I heard that they've got one of his sons to make a guilty plea or what have you, to try and avoid being in prison here. You can't do the kind of time these people giving. At 19 years old, 20 years old, for a guy who's never been punished, for a guy who was allowed at 10 years old to come in at 3 o'clock in the morning on a school night, you can't tell him at 19 that he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. He going to rat on somebody. 9 times out of 10, he going to fucking rat. That's just what it is. You may not like what I just said, but I'm telling you, it is almost unheard of somebody that young getting that kind of time that ain't going to talk. He going to rat on you. She going to rat on you. Let me explain something to y'all. Let me go ahead on and give y'all a game since we having this conversation. Watch, like I said, shout out to everybody because this is a worldwide movement. Before they come at the organization, They already know who the weak link is. They already done studied your family background. They already done watched y'all. They already kind of got it figured out which one gonna crack. If you don't believe me, everybody watches the first 48 when they bring multiple guys in there and you see the officers talking, you'll hear them say, let's go talk to that one because that one looked like he gonna crack first. Let him sit. Let's go talk to this one. This one is eager to talk, or this one is the one who got the most to lose. So they already know when they come to pick y'all up, which one they expecting to crack. Yeah, he in ADX Supermax. He ain't never coming home. He ain't gonna escape out there. There's no way he can escape ADX without them opening the gates and letting him go. He might don't ever see the sun again. Yeah, that right out there in Florence, Colorado, the ADX Supermax. So, y'all hold on one second. Let me get another incense. Didn't think I'd be live streaming this long, but shit, we having a good conversation. So, like I said, he in the ADX Supermax, he ain't never gonna come home. You can't do this kind of time, people. You just can't. Usually, if there's females involved, they'll go up to the female, especially if she have children, and tell her, you got more to lose than anybody. Now, it don't matter if all of y'all have children, but if a woman is involved and she got children, you want to be away from your children as though us dads want to be away from ours. But you want to be away from your children? You play ball, we'll let you out. 5-10 years tops. You want to play hardball, we'll treat you like the guys. So they're already expecting that the women gonna crack. Another problem why the streets turn. And why crime is so bad across the country. A lot of people that don't got no business being in the streets is out here. You got a lot of cowards, a lot of guys that's not about that life, that's out here in the street. I don't agree with some of these gangs telling people, if you're born in a certain neighborhood, you're going to be part of this gang whether you like it or not. I don't agree with that. Because you got guys and girls can't, as we used to say, can't hold water on their chest. And you're going to make them be a gangster because they live on this block? They got to be jumped in this gang and they ain't got no choice or they can't come outside. And then you get all fucking pissed off when they get caught doing something and they rat everybody out. That's your fault. You told them that you was going to force them to be something they not. So you got to take it. Streets is full of fake gangsters. I mean, I done made this reference 1,000 times. I know it's old news, but I'm going to say it. The gang Tekashi 6ix9ine was supposed to be a part of, they should have gave them all life in prison for even letting him be a fucking member. You're going to let somebody like that you know nothing about him say is gangster. You're going to let him know all the inner workings of the fucking gang and then get mad that he fucking told. See, this is what you have fools running criminal organizations. They should have gave all them Negroes life. I mean life without parole, plus another 1,000 years to ensure that they never get out. I don't feel sorry for none of them. None of them. I don't feel sorry for none of them. You got to be some kind of stupid to let that guy in your gang and let him know all the inner workings and then get angry when he gets caught because you want him to take a charge, because that's a part of the street gang, taking a charge. And then get angry because he gets out here and he tells. Fuck you. Fuck all y'all. Y'all got what y'all deserve is the way I feel. To me, I feel like y'all should have got life in prison without parole for that. And they should have let him go. They should have dropped all the charges against him. just for y'all being fucking stupid. That's the type of things I'm talking about. That's why so much of this crime in this world is out of control. You got people that shouldn't be in. Look, if you're a drug dealer, you in the business of making money. You're not in the business of stacking up fucking bodies and killing people. You're in the business of making money. And the hell you gonna make money with all this fucking unnecessary violence? Remember when Lucky Luciano took over the mob, what he said? We can't have all this violence because it's bad for business. All this killing, all this unsanctioned killing. We got into this to make money. Not to have these murderous reputations and fucking be broke. Well, the streets is full of dudes who want to be broke, but want to be known for shooting. Well, guess what? Ain't nobody got no money for bail, so guess what? The only way you get out of bail is, as the law enforcement say, the person that gets on the bus first gets the best deal. The ones who get on the bus in the middle might have a chance. The one who decides to get at the back of the bus, well, guess what? It's all on you. Knowing that, being in a gang with you, somebody you know will rat y'all out, and you still gonna be in a gang with them, you deserve what you get. Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know if our connection dropped out or what. But I just wanted everybody to just be mindful. I appreciate y'all tuning into the live stream. I'm gonna let y'all go. This was only supposed to be a 30-minute or an hour live stream, and we're going on damn near 2 hours. I've been babbling, running my mouth. I hope that I was able to get my point across. I appreciate everybody for interacting with me in the comment section. We're going to definitely do a lot more of this. A lot more live stream is coming. I just try my best to show you guys, as I said, when I started the Alert Zone TV, I was going to show you guys how politics, race, social living, and the Second Amendment all intersect. But I was going to show it to you guys and girls in a way where I can prove it. I don't talk about the things I talk about because I'm looking for a fight with anybody. I'm cleansing your mind of the stuff you've seen on the mainstream media and pointing out to everybody. There's been people in areas that have messaged me since I had this channel going that has told me you put things on my mind I never would have thought about. Because all our experiences is different. Hell, I live here in a place where, coming from where I came from, boy, if I grew up around here, I think I wouldn't know what to do with myself. I was born where I was born, and I was raised the way I was, and I became what I became. I share my experiences because I know I'm not the only person that's been through a lot of this. But I try and share my experiences as a teaching thing. That I know what it's like to be around dudes that really lived that life. I knew what it's like to be around guys who, for whatever you thought, when John Gotti passed on, I talked to guys. I drive a truck. I've been up there. I've talked to guys in that area that talked about how he kept the neighborhood safe. For whatever you think about the guy, that's not what I'm not talking. Whatever you think about him. I always say I don't denigrate the streets because I know the streets keep a lot of peace. It could be a lot worse if the streets gave the green light. Some of this unsanctioned stuff does get punished, and you might see the punishment on the news. I have respect for people in the underworld. The ones who do it by the rules, the old school rules, the right way. I don't denigrate them. I understand everybody's situation is different. But I want law-abiding citizens to understand something. We live in a time, and we've always lived in a time, where it can happen to you at any time, any place, anywhere. But because the mainstream media controlled what everybody saw, they gave everybody tunnel vision and they gave us images instead of definitions. To the point we all started chasing images and nobody ever stopped to think, well, if this is the image of this particular type of person, they don't live around here. Why does this keep happening even though that particular image or that particular group of people don't live here? How does it keep happening? And I'm telling you how it happens. I've proven to you across multiple genres of music, there's a promotion of violence, not just rap music. I've shown you guys and girls, even though I don't know a lot about the band, KMFDM has been a particular group that these school shooters have had a thing for. I've told you guys and girls about the song Pumped Up Kicks. I've told you guys and girls the song from 1989. People in Britain made a song about a school shooting in America. That tells you just how far this reached. This is a worldwide topic. Everybody around the world can relate to this topic. That's why I said music, and I didn't pick one particular genre, because I just proved to everybody that there's violence in multiple genres of music that's not rap, and in countries where there's not black people or there's a small black population, and yet there's still all of this. And I didn't do this for a racial reason. I did this just to point out all genres, just about, in countries that we don't speak the language, have this kind of music. And it's not even rap music, and yet you can go and pull in songs from this particular genre and listen to it, and it'll promote violence. So with that being said, man, I appreciate everybody tuning into the live stream. Y'all be safe out there. I'm probably gonna do another live stream tomorrow. I'm gonna have to get in the book and brainstorm some ideas. I'm gonna see if I can do it. If I'm not too busy tomorrow, I'm gonna try and pull another one off, and hopefully we can get several done this week. But like I said, be expecting more live streaming, especially when I'm not gonna be using a firearm. That way, we can do more interactions. Midday Mania, Midnight Madness is meant to be 30-minute live streams. Sometime we might go an hour. But regular live streams like this, we're gonna always start with our format here of lighting the incinerator. If I'm out on the road, still light my incense. Our 5-minute waiting period. We're gonna always start with the meat and potatoes of the discussion, and if it goes longer than planned, then we'll open the floor up, and then we'll venture off into other things that's still relevant to the topic. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. If you're catching me on the replay, wherever you at, I want you to be safe out there. Shout out to all my truckers. Y'all be safe out there on that road. Shout out to anybody that's on the road in a car that's traveling. Y'all be safe out there. Shout out to the whole world, because this is the worldwide movement. And until next time, stay safe, stay on, stay on high alert. What topic did I miss? Let me see if I'm going to get pause and play to come back in here. You still there, pause and play? Okay, you probably then got out of here. Well, I tell you what. Oh, yeah. They asked me about something about Twitch. Can you remind me of that? I'm sorry to whoever asked me about Twitch. Thanks, pause and play. This is why I love y'all so much. Said something about Hassan and Twitch. hold on. Give me just a minute. Let me see. Hassan and let me see. Hold on 1 second. Oh, okay. Okay, give me just we can go ahead on and do this live. Okay. Okay. Okay, I remember him saying something about Hassan and Twitch. So it says the New York Post. Left-wing influencer Hassan Piker gloats as he returns to Twitch after being yanked for comments about DC Jewish Museum shooting. Lefty influencer Hassan Piker is gloating after his Twitch streaming account was reinstated in just 24 hours following his suspension for suggesting last week's murder of 2 Israeli diplomats at the Jewish Museum in Washington, D.C. resembled a false flag operation. The streamer and the Democrat darling took to X seemingly to confirm that his suspension for improper handling of terrorist propaganda had been brought to an end. The Post, repurposing a popular meme, shows a picture of a man in a hospital bed with a text bubble underneath. Oh, okay. So I got asked about that. Wow. Well, let me go ahead on and give my critique of that. Because I don't follow Twitch or what have you. I have my feelings about some of the stuff I've seen on Twitch, but nevertheless, I'm kind of lost for words in the sense of the mainstream media usually reports when a right winger does something like this. So, let me make this clear. Death, attempted death, it's not funny. Calling this a false flag operation. Somebody lost their lives or was shot. I don't think that that's something that you can honestly say is a false flag. Let me explain this. Sometimes we may have certain feelings about certain events, but as an influencer especially, sometimes you have to be careful, especially with that particular topic and that particular group of people. Because of the ramifications. Apparently, whatever issue or whatever rule he broke with Twitch, maybe he appealed it or whatever, and they found he didn't break any rules, and they reinstated him. I don't know a lot about the story. This is the first that I'm hearing of it. It does have relevance in the sense of it can encourage other people to want to actually go out and do harm to Jewish people. That's about as far as I'm going to go with that. Just because I'm not 100% sure and I don't want to go off the rails and I don't know what I'm talking about. I want to apologize to the person who brought that up to me. Shout out to you, Pause and Play Nola. Look, I still don't know how to do the mods and all that stuff, so just forgive me, please. I don't really want to go off the rails just because I don't know the full story. I'll try in the next couple of days to figure out actually what's going on and see if I can get more of a context. I wasn't even aware that, this happened in May. You know what? You know what? What's going on, Shannon Ewan? We got the Ewans in the house. I was supposed to be closing this live stream up, and then I got hit with revisiting the topic. Now I remember there was something that happened at one of them Jewish museums. My understanding is that I think it was supposed to be a robbery or something like that. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I do remember hearing something about a couple of guys at a Jewish museum getting shot. To call that a false flag operation, apparently in a false flag if somebody got shot. Whether you believe the reason they got shot or not is one thing, but to say it's a false flag, nah. Ain't nothing false about people being in the hospital and being shot, as far as I know. So definitely, just want to say that. So Twitch let him back on. You guys and girls know Peyton Gendron live streamed his little Buffalo Massacre on Twitch. I think in Allen, Texas, that guy was supposed in Allen, Texas at the shopping mall up there. I think that guy was supposed to have been a live stream. I'll be live streaming. Like I said, I'll look more into this. To the person who bought it up, I hope that answers your question. I don't know a lot about this, but I feel like saying it's a false flag in the sense that somebody lost their life. Now, if the reporting is not being properly reported, is one thing. But calling it a false flag, I don't know if I would go that far. Like I said, I've learned with social media, when you see certain stories, go in the comment section. Because a lot of times the comment section be people that's close by. People that know the full story. Sometimes you don't get the full story on social media. A lot of times you get clips and people put out what they want to put out about the story. So you have to go into the comment section a lot of times and they'll tell you, no, tell the full story. Like I said, that's why I decided to do tonight's topic about does music influence violence? Because I'm pretty sure before this live stream started, and for people who catch the replay, you're probably going to assume that I meant rap music. But I've just proven that there's genres of music all over the world that influences violence. And it's not just rap music. And I've pointed out that one rock band in particular from Germany, unfortunately, whether they meant for it to be or not, has been the biggest inspiration since Columbine for these school shootings worldwide. Worldwide, these school shooters have all just about mentioned this band, KFDM. Well, let me make sure KMFDM. I just proved my point. With that being said, I'm going to let you guys and girls get out of here. I didn't keep y'all long enough. Shout out again, everybody, because it's a worldwide movement. And until next time, next live stream, y'all stay safe, stay armed, stay on high alert, and we out.